Sorry, mic was off. I'm having a terrible time trying to do it all on my own. Regan isn't in here today. So it's just me. Well, would be, but I've also got special guest who I haven't actually set his video up yet, but he's here in voice only. It is Marcus from AllShorts. Hi, Marcus.
I can't see your video either.
You can't see me. Oh, hang on a sec. So, can you see? All right, so if you go back to the Discord, just a sec. You should be able to see. Oh, hang on. Oh, I haven't started. There we go. There we go. You can see me now.
There he is.
There you are.
Hello, buddy.
Right. Okay. Now I just need to set your video up, and then so while I'm doing that, I'm just going to play a quick video in honor of Marcus. Marcus is in France. Nobody can see it at the moment, Marcus. Sorry.
Oh, can't we? Oh.
I'm going to sort it out while we play a video. So I'm just going to play a quick video of this is Foil Arms and Hog in honor of Marcus. This is how to get past French immigration. Oh, I'm in the studio mode. That's why. Right. Okay. So let's give that a whirl while I try and sort out Marcus's video, because Marcus has been doing his own stream and jumped on here at the last second, so I'll be kind of all over the place at the moment. There we go. Here we go.
Bonjour. Before granting you entry to France, you must first answer these questions. I will ask you the questions in English, but I am not happy about it. Question 1. What is France's national sport?
Protesting.
Where? When do French people like to take their lunch?
Between 9 and 5 p.m.
Where? What is France's largest export?
Second-hand smoke.
Where? What are people from Paris traditionally called?
Rude.
Where? What French monument do millions flock to every year?
The Statue of Liberty.
Where? Who is France's biggest ever movie star?
Andre the Giant.
Where? Name one French handball champion.
Thierry Henry.
Wait, why is the French national anthem regarded as one of the best in the world?
Oh, because it's harder, better, faster, stronger.
Wait, name a temperamental French model known for having near constant breakdowns.
Oh, the Renault 5.
Wait, what famous French invention used to cut people at the neck has spilled much blood over the years?
The big shaving razor?
Wait, what was the defensive line along the German border called in 1930?
Naive.
Wait, who went too far into Russia before rapidly retreating when the tide turned against them?
Marine Le Pen.
Wait. Which minority within France are stereotyped for their drug abuse?
Cyclists.
Wait. After a long day at work, where do the French like to visit?
Their neighbor's space.
Wait, très bien, you passed the test.
So we can go.
I'll let you know tomorrow.
Oh, you just have to process it, or...
No, I'm going on my lunch. Which great celebration is held in France every year?
Fruit Pastille Day.
Wait, you are of course Foil Arms and Hog.
Yes.
Yes.
What would you like me to do for you?
To subscribe to the channel, please.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right. So here we go. Hello, you got his back to me. Hey, Marcus.
I just showed you a link. Oh,
so
yeah.
You're slightly off. Are you okay there? I'll just
Yeah, I'm streaming at the same time. At the moment, it appears to be working.
Okay.
So I'm currently streaming this show through my show, and it's still live. So hopefully, it's all going to pan out okay. And I can't. Let me just move this, because at the moment, all I can see is that. There you go. Why am I in the middle? Over here.
I don't know. We did set this up yesterday, same position, but don't know why it's not. Oh no, I know why. Hang on a sec. Don't move. There we go. There's better. I didn't have the chat open.
That's better. That's better.
Oh, sorry about this technical problems, but we got Marcus here. Marcus.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's well. Some of you might already be on my other channel. I can watch myself over there and over here. Literally, what's happening is I'm sharing this stream, which is the Snowflake show, on my stream, which happens to be AllShorts, at the same time.
So we're out on two channels, multi-channel today, multi-channeling. So let's see what we've got in the chat, because I haven't got a chat window open. There's my chat window gone. I am. This has been very stressful doing it on my own. I'll be honest with you, setting it all up. Oh come on, where is it now?
And I need to
There we
bring
go.
your
Is
chat
that
up
one?
as
No,
well.
not
Got
that
my
one.
chat running, your chat running. Oh my god.
Where's my
It's all
stream one?
complicated.
It is. I can't see this. I can't see my. Oh, this is really bad. We haven't even started yet, and we're struggling. Live stream. There we go. Hey, right. Okay, we've got quite a few people here. So Lefty Voters here. Hi, evening all. Hi, Lefty Voter. Ben Shaw, evening all. Evening Lefty. Nico De Schmidt. Hi all. Moving on from AllShorts. So hi, welcome Nico. Welcome to the
Well, you
technical.
boycotted me.
if anybody tells us if the volume is a bit too loud on either of us, or quite level, just let us know so I can adjust it.
Speak ahead, necessary.
Suzanne Devita, good evening. Henry
Hey, Susan
Thompson,
DeVito.
hello. Hi, Kenzie. Oakbeige. Hi again, all. Hi, welcome all these new people who I've never seen before. This is great. Ginger Giraffe, hey again. Hi, Ginger.
My current viewers have gone down.
yeah. Mine's gone up. Chatty Rat says, good evening, all. Hi, Chatty Rat.
Okay,
Kendra, hello, Lee. We can't hear you. Oh, I think I'm working now. Just let me know if it's not working, but you should be able to hear me
I
now.
can hear you.
You can hear me through the Discord. That's
I
why. Salea V says hello. We Scott's dog says hi. All loud and clear here, says Nico. Thank you. Yes, we're very close. So I'm in. Oh, sorry. Let me finish this. Are both channels open? Says Sudan Navit. I think so. We've got both. Time is a bit off, but otherwise okay. How did I get here? Hello, by the way. Hi, Shower. Welcome. The Snowflake show. So, yeah. So I'm in the quaint Cheshire market town of Stockport, and Marcus is in the quaint French market ville of Oradour-sur-Ver. I think I pronounced
Oradour-sur-Ver, that is. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. In near Limoges in France.
Uh-huh.
So international tonight. International. So how's it going, Marcus? How was your stream
going?
going?
Well, I'm very glad I managed to get onto your stream, and it's all seems to be working, and I didn't get stopped at the border, so that's handy. It's quite good, this online stuff, isn't it?
It is. So I wanted to talk about Brexit today. As Marcus is on. I don't know what you've been talking on your stream because I've been too busy setting it all up. But so we're not duplicating anything on what you've already talked about, but we'll see.
Well, I brought up that one couple of little videos and that because I was already doing that. Then I see you put it into the news bit.
What's that? Oh right, okay.
Regarding Andrew Bailey and George Eustace.
Ah right, okay. Yeah. Have you already played those?
You touched on it.
Oh right, okay. Well, that was the first thing I wanted to talk about. So we go into the news.
Vision for me as well.
Can you see me okay?
Oh, you look lovely, my darling.
Oh, thank you. So do you. I love your hat. So, this is from Bloomberg, and this was the UK economy being permanently damaged by Brexit. Hopefully you can hear this.
You joined the Monetary Policy Committee just after the Brexit referendum in 2016. Now it's Saunders Unleashed. You can finally speak freely about politics. How would you characterise the past 6 years of government?
Well, it's been a chaotic period, hasn't it? We've had 5 prime ministers, 7 chancellors, I think. I apologise if I've missed out 1 or 2 of them. And also in economic terms, it's been a challenging period with the Brexit vote, the depreciation of sterling, a long period of political uncertainty, the pandemic, and then renewed political uncertainty. And I think perhaps the main legacy of that period is that the economy's potential output, what it can produce without generating inflation, has been weak. Indeed, the Bank of England's monetary policy report that came out recently implies that the economy's potential output has fallen outright since the end of 2019 and will grow by less than 1% per year in the next few years. And that implies low growth of living standards and constant battle over whether to raise taxes or to cut public spending. And I think getting higher potential growth is really the big economic challenge of the next few years.
Well, you mentioned Brexit. London's lost its crown to Paris as the biggest stock market in Europe. Is the City of London permanently damaged by Brexit?
You know, I would cast the net wider than that. The UK economy as a whole has been permanently damaged by Brexit. It's reduced the economy's potential output significantly, eroded business investment. I mean, look, if we hadn't had Brexit, we probably wouldn't be talking about an austerity budget this week. The need for tax rises, spending cuts, wouldn't be there if Brexit hadn't reduced the economy's potential output so much.
Does the government need to be more open about that?
Well, I think for the country as a whole, this question of how we raise potential output, that really is the thing I think which is going to be the big challenge. I mean, look, if I have to say, Liz Truss, in her brief failed premiership, got that one point right, that raising potential output is the big challenge. I think her diagnosis of the problem and her suggested solution to cut taxes and to deregulate are wrong. I would put the emphasis more on improving trade links with the EU, improving education, training, and also fixing this worrying rise in long-term sickness, which has been reducing the workforce so much.
So
It's pretty bleak.
it is depressing listening to that, isn't it?
I'm just going to go and slip my throat. Oh, no, that was Gavin Williamson, sorry.
Oh yeah. I mean, where do you start with this? I mean, Liz Truss completely destroying the economy in the space of a few weeks. There, but Brexit, the impact Brexit is. What's interesting is that people are starting to talk about it. We had a little chat about it yesterday. People are starting to talk about it. People are actually and in the news and on TV, the BBC's talking about it, which it wasn't doing previously. So, but the impact that Brexit is having is just massively damaging the economy. Like he says, we've been overtaken. The stock market has now been overtaken by France to be the biggest stock market in Europe. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say on it. I mean, it's all stuff that was predicted.
In the stock market in the Netherlands with the share trading, they took over quite quickly, didn't they? Or did very well out of it.
Yeah, I think
About a year ago. Remember that was reported?
Yeah, Netherlands. I think France did well out of it. Germany did well out of it. Frankfurt, Ireland as well did quite well out of it as well.
I think we've done very well out of it, have we?
No, we've done terribly out of it. And I think this is the thing. This is what the things that we're going to show here. Just how all these things just added up, and they're all just hitting us. But everybody's kept quiet about it for the last 2 years since it's happened, since we left.
Well, towing the party line, wasn't it? You know, they got.
Well, the BBC.
Which I know you're going to touch on at the moment, aren't you, regarding George Eustace as well?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a Bank of England Treasury Committee meeting today. They're just following on from that on the in terms of the Bank of England. The Bank of England heads were in the Treasury Committee in Parliament today. Just have a quick look at this. I'll just skip through the bits because it's not. There's quite a lot to in this. Let's have a look.
You mentioned a list of, earlier to the chair's question, a sequence of shocks, COVID, supply chain shocks in Russia and so on. I'm going to bring the B word in again because we haven't talked about it for a long time, and we all know
amazing. Nobody talks about it for a long time.
Before the Brexiteers join the committee.
I think
there are a few, I'm sure, who'll join us. But the point is that with a 4% hit on GDP in the long term, I wonder if you can comment on that. The former MPC member Michael Saunders said this week, if we hadn't had Brexit, we probably wouldn't be looking at having an austerity budget this week. What do you make of these comments? And do you agree that there's self-harm that's been done to our economy, and these shocks that we've had since have Could it make us more vulnerable than other economies?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and we've talked about this a lot of times before. I mean, I think the bank's assessment, and we use this in the forecasts on the Brexit impact, really hasn't changed actually since the sort of work that was done.
Doesn't it in effect compound the problem?
Well, I think I was going to follow up and say, I mean, this work, I think Ben and I did, because I wasn't at the bank at the time, but this was done pretty soon after the referendum. It essentially assumes that there is a long run downshift in the level of productivity. I think of around, it's a bit over 3%, and that at least 2 of those comes sort of fairly well forward in the time frame. And I think it's fair to say I don't think anything we've seen so far changes our view on that. We haven't changed our view on that so far. So there is an effect in it. That's what I'm saying. Yes, there is an effect. Yep. It's not one that, as I say, we've not been surprised by that. I would also add that I mean I think it's for Michael to obviously take his own view.
He's a liberated man now. Clearly. Carry on.
You said it. I've always, my approach has always been that, as a public official, I'm neutral on Brexit, per se, but I'm not neutral in saying these are what we think are the most likely economic effects of it. But you're a great expert on this subject.
Just want to skip forward because I mean, he's basically saying
there's not waffling, isn't there?
Yeah, but he's basically saying the same as what Michael Saunders said in that interview for Bloomberg. I just want to skip to this part because this is one of the other heads talking about the damage done to small business.
What we're sending to the rest of the world.
Okay.
I'd like to add on to this because I look at a lot of firm level data, and the small firms are the ones that are most damaged because the cost of the paperwork and so forth is a barrier. It's not just small firms in the UK who want to export, but it is also small firms in Europe who were suppliers and provided competition in the UK market. So there is an inflationary effect coming through the competition channel.
And do you have a sense of...
Yes, she's asked how much that inflation effect was, but she wasn't going to give an opinion on that. But yeah, so basically, because what she's saying is that because there's no because of fewer companies selling into the UK, that's causing less competition, so it allows British companies, smaller companies, to push prices up on top of all the extra paperwork and all the extra work they're having to do and costs they're incurring as well.
Lack of workforce.
Well, yeah,
we don't have we don't have the people that do the job. It's like who was it now who said that? It was that was actually Adam Possum, wasn't it? Regarding not having the people to do the work is one of the biggest drivers of inflation.
Mm. Well, yeah, because it pushes up wages, doesn't it? Because in order to get people to work, they have to pay more to do these jobs.
And then you got food inflation on top of that, haven't you? So
yeah,
it's like what's happened recently regarding if you talk food inflation and what happened to the Nepalese workers working in the fields, fruit pickers and all that, what have you, and they got sent back early. Then 2 months worth of work, and then got sent back. Had their visas cancelled. And these people took out loans and what have you to be able to come to the United Kingdom to get the visas and the cost of flights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With suppose all these promises and that didn't materialise. So they're not going to come back again, are they?
No, and they're just going to tell people in Nepal, don't go back, don't go to Britain because you just get shafted. So
travels fast.
Yeah, and some of these it's going to take them 3 years. Some of them are going to have to sell land and things like that to pay off these debts that they've incurred to come here to work.
The average wage is around 3,000 a year.
Yeah,
equivalent wage.
Yeah.
So it's going to take quite a long while. And a lot of them took out loans about £1,500 to £2,000. So it's quite a considerable, a lot of money for them.
But everybody's saying, "Oh, it's not our it's not our fault" and things like that. But so I mean, they're brought over at a time towards the end of the season, so you would or the picking season, or they were promised 6 months' work as we are heading into winter. So I can't, and they one of them said that he didn't realise that the season, that was the end. They were coming over at the end of the season, so
it took a long while to sort out, didn't it? To actually sort the visas out.
Yeah.
Basically, they've been sponsored on a particular farm. It's not as though they can move to another farm. They're stuck.
Yeah.
So as either they work that farm, and if they've got no work for them, they're gone. So
well, I think they did try and get them work at another farm, but they can't work in any other industry. So they tried to get them work for another farm, but there's no other work because it's end of season. But they can't do any work anywhere else. So they reckon some of them could end up in the black the black economy, basically, and there's all the issues around. I've forgotten the word now. Just not this modern slavery, I suppose, is the word I'm looking for. That's not the word I'm looking for, but where they end up being exploited. That was what I was using for.
We're talking gangs and what have you, only, but
yeah. So I mean, this one is kind of was already touched on in the other video, and we spoke about it before. Britain has lost its position as Europe's largest stock market as Paris took London first time since records began in 2003. Rishi Sunak and his Chancellor Jeremy Hunt prepared to announce tens of billions in tax hikes and public spending cuts in Thursday's autumn statement. Concerns over growth loomed large in Britain's fall from the top spot. So this is pretty much the same thing. So it's Paris Bourse is worth $2.823 trillion. The London Stock Exchange is only $2.821 trillion. There's a gap of around. It's got a close gap of around $1.5 trillion, which has been narrowing since the Brexit referendum. And I think that was on the Treasury Committee, the same thing that we were talking about before. Yeah, it's not good, is it? It just seems to get worse. And I can't.
No, not at all.
What do you think about tomorrow? About the? But go on. Sorry, what are you going to say? Are you going to say something?
Sorry, just got fly. I feel like Mike Pence. Go away.
We've got the budget tomorrow. This I reckon massive tax hikes and
there is talk that there's a possibility that there might be a handout. There's a fly. Go away. Yeah, there might be a handout. So about 1,100.
To who?
Whether or not that materialises, we'll see.
To the public.
Obviously, there's going to be considerable taxes, I imagine, increases for everybody. So in one hand, out the other.
Yeah, as these things tend to be. Just want to have a look at the chat. I've lost the page.
Number 3.
Again. I can't see the chat now. That's good. Doing well. Doing really well. There it is. Right. So, Mad Monk's 33 is complaining that we always do the stream when he's doing Indie Truck Davey as a messenger meeting at the same time on a Wednesday.
You've got people in the chat on yours, on this show, but also mine at the same time. The same people.
Two-way chats. So yeah, Ken just says it won't be too long until it's the 10th anniversary. Take it to talk about Brexit. I bet we'll still be in the same position, probably worse off, I would have thought, unless Labour can get in and make some changes.
Well, they're not coming up with any solutions, are they? So we are going to be in the same position, if not in a worse position. If they don't have some kind of mitigation for the situation that we're in, which they don't have at the moment, because they can really do, to be honest, we're going to be facing down even bigger problems.
Yeah. I think we've got some. I think Duke Vengeance is here. Bert H. Hello from the Netherlands. Casper Northerner.
Again.
He's here. Pedulous. I'm here for a bit, but we'll watch it from Marcus' channel and keep an eye on the chat here. Okay. Raise output? ? Says João Moreiros. Yeah. Only 4%. She's also optimist. Says Verticu. Or High Verticu.
I think it is. It's going to be self-fueling. The problem is going to be self-fueling, and it's just going to replicate itself and become an even bigger issue. And the more business, especially small to medium enterprises, are going to find it even harder to trade, let alone manufacturing. Like, for instance, British Volt. How the hell was that supposed to sell batteries for a start?
Mm.
Because one of the problems is exporting cars out of the UK. Into the EU. So that was one of the reasons to have British Volt, because obviously the proportion of the vehicle had to be to avoid the 10% tariffs.
Yeah.
And now it looks like it wasn't like billions of pounds being invested in this British Volt. It's like it's tens of millions now. And the UK is supposed to be handing over, was it 100 million for machinery and what have you, which hasn't been bought. So that's sort of like tied up in red tape. if it ever happens. And now they've managed to get another 5 million to tide them over, like for wages and what have you. So about 300 people working at this place. It isn't actually even built yet, I don't think. It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess. So if the thing is, how are we going to export cars out of the UK if the biggest proportion of the cost is the battery and we can't produce the batteries? There's only one battery manufacturer, there's a Chinese manufacturer in the UK, and they make batteries for Nissan.
Right.
That's
for the Leaf.
Sunderland.
Yeah, for Sunderland. Right. Yeah, because that's the thing is the tariffs, isn't it? Because it's not made in the UK. Then
I can't remember what they call it now. There's a word for it within the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, but to get the free tariffs regarding the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, it's got to be a proportion of the vehicle has to originate from the United Kingdom.
Yeah,
but at the moment, obviously, with what was the supply chain, just-in-time supply chain, and that's gone. But we're still importing stuff from abroad because that's where the stuff is made. And it doesn't matter if the stuff is imported from the EU into the United Kingdom. We make the goods and export it back to the EU. It still comes under the same rules.
Yeah.
As if it was. If the components were imported from China, for instance, it doesn't matter. It has to originate in the UK. So it's a nightmare, isn't it? No wonder all the car manufacturers move around. You've heard what's happened with Mini recently. The BMW Mini.
Yeah. Yeah, they're making the new electric version of the Mini in, is it Germany?
Yeah, it's just the future, isn't it? The electric version. Eventually, the fossil fuel version, they're carrying making at the moment, aren't they, in the UK? But that's all. That's going to get to a point when no one's going to buy it.
No.
Anyway, so what's the point?
Yeah, there's been pushing. Ineos have been pushing. Ratcliffe, that guy.
Yeah. What the Grenadier?
The Grenadier, yeah. But they're sort of making out it's all
electric
British.
Version. Is it an electric version?
I thought the whole point was it was an electric version. I don't know. Maybe I misread it, but I mean the whole thing. They kind of they're not really saying it's British, but the imagery they're using around it is all very British. They got Lewis Hamilton doing a video.
It's an iconic car, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're making out it's British, but it's made in Germany.
Yeah,
it's screwed over all.
No, it's actually in France, isn't it? It's on the it's an old Mercedes factory.
Oh, is it? I thought it was. I knew it was a Mercedes.
It's on the border of France and Germany, isn't it?
Oh, right. Okay. I knew it was a Mercedes factory. I think he was supposed to take over the old Ford factory in was it Bridgend, South Wales?
That's it. Yeah. That was a lie.
Yeah, but I think he got offered the Mercedes factory. Do you want this? Do you want to move into here? And he went, oh, that's a bigger factory or whatever. Plus it's in the European Union, so you miss all these issues like you were saying about just in time or goods and tariffs and all the rest. So he shafted all those workers.
Pretty much anything to the UK anyway.
Well, yeah, you can do because nobody's checking anything. So,
the rules still apply, but then no one's checking.
Duke Vengeance says we'll export.
Unless you're doing online stuff.
Yeah, we'll export the cars by catapult. That sounds like a good idea. bypass tariffs. Customs just catapult them into Europe. Catapults will be the next British airline, Duke. Trebuchets for long travels. Right. Talking of Brexit, so still on the thing of Brexit and trade. The Australian trade deal. This one was a bit of a doozy, wasn't it? I mean, we all kind of knew this, and we're all saying it, but it was still interesting to see it come out in the open from a Tory MP and trade negotiator.
Now, the current Secretary of State at DIT obviously had no role in these particular discussions, although my honourable friend did and will recall some of the discussions that took place. But the Secretary of State was not in the Cabinet at the time, nor in any of the Cabinet committees, and the Minister today has defended, obviously, the position that was taken at the time. My position is obviously slightly different. I was in the Cabinet in 2021, and I was in this Cabinet subcommittee that argued over the Australian trade deal. For yes, there were deep arguments and differences over how we should approach this. But since I now enjoy the freedom of the backbenches, I no longer have to put such a positive gloss on what was agreed. And I hope that my honourable friend will understand my reason for doing this. And that is that unless we recognise the failures that the Department for International Trade made during the Australia negotiations, we won't be able to learn the lessons of future negotiations. And there are critical negotiations underway right now notably on CPTPP and on Canada, and it is essential that the Department for International Trade does not repeat the mistakes it made. And so the first step is to recognise that the Australia trade deal is not actually a very good deal for the UK.
Dun, dun, dun. What a surprise that is.
It wasn't for lack of trying on my part. Indeed, as my old friend pointed out, there were things that we achieved. A special agricultural safeguard for years 10 to 15, staged liberalisation across the first decade, the protection of British sovereignty in SPS issues.
SPS issues, so I had to look this up. So that's sanitary and phytosanitary. So basically health, food, quality and safety regulations.
It's no surprise that
€220.
Sorry?
Costs about €220, whether it's one truckle of cheese or a whole pallet.
Right, yeah. Into Europe it is, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. I think it's about making sure that the rules were the same, or that they had to, in terms of what they could actually import and the quality of the food and the safety of
it. These areas were areas negotiated either exclusively or predominantly by DEFRA on behalf of the UK team. But it has to be said that overall, the truth of the matter is that the UK gave away far too much for far too little in return.
I won't show the whole thing because it's about 11 minutes long. But I mean, the key points of it are that we gave them everything, and it was actually let me just play this part because this part is relevant.
Play the ending because the ending's quite good.
Yeah, I'll just play this bit because I think it's a bit where.
What would a good agreement have looked like? Well, it would have been having enduring TRQs.
Yeah, sorry. So let's see if we can skip to the end. Near the end.
But if they perceive that Crawford Faulkner calls the shots and that he will always approach always was to internalise Australia.
I think he was criticising the guy from the international
responsibility
trade
for agri-food negotiations, including relating to TRQs, should be transferred from the Department for International Trade.
Yeah, he basically criticises Liz Truss and says that she just set a deadline, and that she wanted to get it done by G7.
Yeah.
And she wanted to
a deal at any cost.
Yeah, what she asked the Australian negotiator, what would it take to get this deal done in that time frame? And he just went, well, we want this. And she went, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I mean,
they pretty much asked him, what do you want?
Yeah. They asked him, what do you want? And they had nothing. They had nothing to offer back for us, and we didn't. Well, Liz Truss's team didn't.
40 million people in Australia compared to the 67 million people.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's a one-sided thing.
Yeah, I mean the thing as well is you can't even sell. They can't sell any British beef into Australia. He highlights this in the video.
No, that's the BSE.
Yeah, so he said it's just a nonsense. They're covering it on that, using it as, but we can't sell British beef in Australia anyway. So that's a non-starter, isn't it? You're not going to sell lamb into a country that's got loads of cheap lamb already. You're not going to sell beef into there. So we can't.
It's like you're not going to sell whiskey to India. Oh, who was that? Oh, Alexander Boris Vettel Johnson.
Yeah, I think you just look at it. It's just absolute nutcases. But he's tried to back out of. He's basically saying, "Oh, I wasn't my fault. I had nothing to do with this. I wanted to get a good trade deal. It was all Liz Truss's fault and her negotiating team." He did mention the guy's name, but I don't want to go back to the video because it's quite a long one trying to find the bits. But yeah, terrible trade deal. The one advantage is the only one redeeming feature, and he says that the only good thing in it is Article 32.8, which is that we can give 6 months notice at any point to renegotiate it. So that we could trigger that at any point. Which if a Labour government got in, they probably would do. You would hope they would do anyway.
Well, they're going to make Brexit work, you see, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Not to worry about it at all.
No.
It's all going to be spiffing. Spiffing it will.
Yeah. João Moreiros says, how much did Eustace get paid in contributions? Contributions, and perhaps someone is not paying him. So, sorry, what did you say?
No, good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Regarding George Eustace.
Yeah, chat says
backhanders and all that.
Eustace,
like this trust backhanders.
Eustace
deserves a good backhand.
Eustace admitted that he was asleep at the wheel and cocked up on the SPS elements. His responsibility is DEFRA Minister in the Aussie trade deal. Number 3 says, words spoken by a weasel. Daily Blast, they did say something I spotted before.
What frustrated me, though, is that when what he was saying that now that I'm on the backbenches, I can enjoy basically speaking the truth. So effectively, what he's implying is the fact that he wasn't speaking the truth when he's in cabinet, as a George Eustace. Like, he's lied several times. I mentioned in my stream earlier about regarding the live by valve mollusks and what have you, where he basically wrote letters with conflicting dates.
Right.
Do you remember that?
No.
Regarding basically, he was trying to make out that we are allowed to sell our live bivalve mollusks fished in Class B waters into the EU, which is a complete and utter lie because we clearly were not.
Yeah.
Because they won't accept them unless they're Class A waters without being depurated. And depurated, which is basically a colonic for mussels. Effectively, they'll start dying because they've got empty stomachs, and by the time they get to the EU, they're already dead and they've started rotting. So you can't eat them. They're poisonous.
I do remember that. Yeah.
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 So it's he's just, that's what makes me frustrated about it all. Is someone mentioned it earlier actually about it should be illegal to lie in Parliament, in the Commons mode. So it's
But that conflicts with the concepts of or the rules of cabinet collective responsibility, which says that you can have these conversations in private with the minister, you can have arguments about it, and you can clash about it, but in public you've got to show a united front. Which basically means if they say tough, you've got to. This is what we're going with, and you've got to do it. Then he's got no choice in the matter. He has to lie, effectively.
Yeah.
Or he can resign if you've got backbone. He could resign, but he clearly hasn't got a backbone.
What if they did something like in the courts, what have you, where you have to do an oath?
Yeah.
Before you come in, they do some sort of oath before you speak or something. I don't know, for argument's sake. So then if they're found to be lying, that there's some comeback. But at the moment, there's nothing. There's a parliamentary privilege. It just allows them to say whatever they bloody like.
Yeah.
It's just excuse my French.
And you can't even accuse them of lying either. Within that.
Well, what happened to Dawn Butler? She got kicked out.
Yeah. She did that deliberately. She knew she was gonna. She'd be back next time. Daily Blase says, "Has Regan Leap been sacked for bullying?" Oh, no, he hasn't been bullying me. I did feel threatened a few times.
He threw a tomato. Daily Blase. He threw a tomato. That's what he did.
There were times.
Obviously, he had to take it serious, very strong. He did. Yeah. And Regan Leap has gone off to investigate himself.
He's investigating himself. Because as a junior member of the team, I was afraid to knock on his door. So, yeah, I was going through.
Out, weren't you?
Sorry.
Were you going the route out as well?
I was. You know what? I was looking back at last week's what we had on last week's show with the running order, and it was like it's almost like we're just going back. Just different people. So last week it was all about Gavin Williamson bullying. And this week it's Dominic Raab. But like you say, he's investigating himself. There's no parliamentary the ethics. There's nobody in charge of ethics in Parliament, in the parliamentary party or whatever it is. The parliamentary ethics head was sacked and has not been replaced. So was he sacked or did he quit? I can't remember. Yeah. João Moreira says, was Eustace in the same as he played like the other pale woman that looks like an orc? It was. Eustace gave the Aussies a free pass on hormone injected beef. Goose says, ahoy, hoy. Ahoy, hoy. The original telephone answering.
Dave Blood, they want to know if they were cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes.
Yeah,
they were rotten tomatoes.
They're plum tomatoes because they're massive. Like beef tomatoes, they're huge.
They were Monty tomatoes.
If they're cherry tomatoes, that's not too bad. baby
I
plum
don't know
tomatoes.
if they want to get a Tesco's, they're like bullets.
Rock hard and still orange, not even
Yeah.
ripened. No taste to them.
Oh.
Yeah, Chatterette says not if the NIP remains in place. Remember what in Paisley Senior said: our people may be British, but our cows are Irish. And there's plenty of clear blue water between Northern Ireland and GB. Yeah. It's so funny to watch them all say something like "I told them so" when they're all on TV filled with the British people public, and they still do. Yeah.
Well,
it's always what is a
but
backbone.
Michael Gove the other day, a couple of weeks ago, on the Sky, weren't it? When he said, on balance, Brexit's been an absolute wonderful, marvellous success. Or words to that effect.
How? How? On balance against what?
Maybe he considers himself an expert. We shouldn't listen to him anyway.
Well, yeah, that's true. Right, moving on. Still on Brexit. This is the last
Regan's here. Hello, Regan and Lee.
Hi, Regan. You're right.
Oh, you're the place. Yeah. Keep your seat warm.
They're saying that you've been steadily blasé since you were bullying me, and that's why you're not on. You're being investigated. You're investigating yourself.
You're for throwing tomatoes.
Right. Back on Brexit. Look, this is the last one we're doing on Brexit. Okay. So, again, the UKCA mark has been pushed back for another time for another 2 years. What's that?
Yep. Oh dear. Oh dear me.
Yeah. So pushed back for another 2 years. The government has given businesses 2 additional years to prepare for a new deadline of the 31st December 2024, at which point the UKCA mark will be legally required. I honestly can't see it. So the UKCA mark replaces the CE mark, which is the European conformity mark. And this was supposed to be a benefit that we could do our own marks.
Write your own laws.
Yeah, write your own laws.
No one anywhere will pay any attention to. No one's going to recognise the UKCA mark. What is it, they'll say? Oh, I don't know. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Is that new?
Government has cited the difficult business environment caused by the pandemic and the war in Ukraine as a reason for the delay. This move, this is Grant Shapps, this move, or whatever he's called this week, this move will give businesses the breathing space and flexibility they need at this crucial time to ensure that our future system for product safety marking is fit for purpose, providing the highest standard for consumers without harming businesses. I mean,
that
ultimately...
sounds like Jacob Rees-Mogg that he said earlier this year.
What was that?
May, wasn't it? When Jacob Rees-Mogg said about about the border checks.
Oh yeah, because it allows for free trade. I mean, the Political X did a video a couple of days ago about Jacob Rees-Mogg, and it shows all the way through it. He's always talking about free trade, and it allows free trade, and I love free trade and all this, but we've just left the biggest free trading area in the whole of the world.
147 million people.
To go it alone.
7 million people. That's what 17 trillion in trade, or was. I don't know what it is now, but 17 trillion in trade. The UK was at 2.7 trillion, and the United States apparently going to get this trade deal with the United States was 23 trillion. So it's it hasn't happened, has it?
You know, these marks were a world standard basically. If you're making something, you want to sell it into the biggest market in the world, you're going to make it to the CE mark. So having a separate mark which effectively does the same, or you can lower the standards, you're still going to make the mark. You're still going to make it for the UKC for the CE mark. So I've got a fly in here as well.
You've got a problem. I've got a fly. It's literally sitting on my light.
It looks like it looks like a mosquito, but a big one as well. But I'm not sure what it is. I don't really tend to get mosquitoes in Manchester, but there you go. So so the government's pushes. Hey,
we've got water, so we've definitely got mosquitoes.
All right. Yeah, so they pushed it back for 2 years. I mean, I can't see it happening. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's going to kick the can down the road and until hopefully they're going to hope that people forget about it.
I think by the time that comes in, we'll probably be on a Labour government anyway. What's the big but? I mean, I like big butts.
Well, recognise the CE mark, but what if it doesn't really help British industry who wants to manufacture new products? There's still going to have to be the CE mark. That's going to have to be done in the EU.
Yes.
So they're going to have to take the stuff over into the EU to have the CE mark done.
Yeah.
And then can they get it over the border? Maybe.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be tested in the EU because there's no CE testing facilities in the UK. Besides, why would they be? Because obviously they didn't pay any attention to it.
Have they actually done any? Have they actually? I mean, they must have, because I've seen stuff with UKCA on it, and I saw a pint pot the other day with it.
Basically, the UK CA mark. There's no testing been done. It's just saying that because it qualifies under the same rights as the same certification as the CE mark.
So it was already CE then.
Okay.
Jeez. But I thought that was the whole point. They had to they were charging companies to have to do it, or they literally just going. Oh, it doesn't matter if it's got CE.
It's pen pushing.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. So we are staying.
Things that you do self-certificate. There's some things as well regarding you do self-certification on some items. Like for instance, like soft toys and stuff like that. You can actually do your own. You basically make a declaration, self-declaration, to say it conforms. So also you've got to do like a fire test. You've got to set light to your goods.
Right.
As long as it's not that cladding, because apparently that cladding, Grenfell Tower cladding, in 2001, I think it was tested in test facility in the UK.
Yeah.
And she never obviously got onto the Grenfell Tower, but apparently they had to stop the test on this cladding because the flames were actually 20 meters above the test wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was about to set light to the building.
Yeah, they're going to set light to the lab. That was I heard that. Yeah,
the lab. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it must be a big, huge lab if it's 20 meters higher than the wall, test wall.
Yeah. Okay.
Massive.
Industrial complex.
We're staying. We are doing one more thing with Brexit, but this one is to maybe just lighten the mood a bit. That will make you very angry, so I cannot guarantee. Either way, enjoy. Oh, sorry.
You'll benefit from an NHS run almost completely into the ground, thanks to the reallocation of funds from the EU budget to hedge fund managers, conservative cronies, and disaster capitalists. Controlled immigration will lead to fruit rotting on the trees, the needless slaughter of tens of thousands of healthy pigs, and increased hospital waiting times for you and your loved ones, as all the crucial workers from overseas will have buggered off. Excess funding that would otherwise be sent to Brussels could also be directed to education, but won't be. We'll increase tensions with Northern Ireland, meaning a return to the glorious Britain of the 1970s. Your wages will not rise, but the price of everything else will. And a reintroduction of roaming charges will give massive mobile phone firms a much-needed economic boost. New passports will be more blue, and you'll be able to admire them for longer in extended airport queues. You and your family will benefit from an economy in recession, led by flourishing small businesses, of which only 4 are left. Don't worry, you'll still be able to buy and sell goods in the EU, but with the added benefits of significant customs charges, hilarious amounts of paperwork, and ridiculous shipping delays. Food prices will no longer be inflated by EU agricultural policies. We'll find our own British way to inflate them. And following the removal of burdensome EU regulations and red tape, we'll be able to poison our own food with pesticides and flood our historic coastlines with shit and piss. Our newfound economic freedoms mean we'll probably have to ramp up interest rates, destroying the housing dreams of young people. Politicians, both local and national, will be less accountable, dictated to by a small but inexplicably powerful group of MPs. And, thanks to an archaic parliamentary system, you'll have no power to get rid of them. Our farming, fishing and steel industries are struggling. Deprived communities are falling apart, and children are being pushed into poverty. But let's say the European Union did all of that. A more prosperous and safer future awaits us outside the EU. A vote to leave is a vote for a brighter future for traitors, grifters and bastards.
And bastards.
I found that very inspiring. I don't see what the problem is. I really don't. No, what do you reckon, Molly?
I should have played it. I should have played the original one and that one afterwards, because that would, the original one was from Leave EU, and it was one that, it was one that James O'Brien was playing. He found and he started playing it, and they've done a spoof of it. Very funny. That's Laurie and Paul. I'll put a link in the description on that for that, because they're very funny. They do a live show tomorrow at 9 o'clock. If you're interested in watching, on their channel, I'll put a link. Hi, Wally. Right, moving away from Brexit, we're going to the United States.
Trump. I don't mind that Trump.
And I've lost the video, as I always do on these things. There we go. Here we go.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
I think that's enough of that. That's all you need to know.
Water is wet.
Former President Donald Trump is aiming to become only the second. Oh, did you see the video then? How did I switch that over? Did you see the video? Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Right. Former President Donald Trump aiming to become the only second commander in chief ever elected to two non-consecutive terms. Announced that he would be seeking a Republican presidential nomination in 2024. Blah blah blah. What you just said. Surrounded by allies, advisors, and conservative influencers, Trump delivered a relatively subdued speech rife with spurious and exaggerated claims about his 4 years in office. Despite a historically divisive presidency and his own role in inciting an attack on the US Capitol in January 6, 2021, Trump aimed to evoke nostalgia for his time in office, frequently contrasting his first-term accomplishments with the Biden administration's policies and the current economic climate. Many of those perceived accomplishments, from strict immigration actions to corporate tax cuts and religious freedom initiatives, remain deeply polarizing to this day. He also claimed the party cannot afford to nominate a politician or conventional candidate if it wants to win back the White House. This will not be my campaign, this will be our campaign altogether. Trump's long-awaited campaign comes as he tries to reclaim the spotlight following the GOP's underwhelming midterm elections performance, including losses of several Trump-endorsed election deniers and subsequent blame game that has unfolded since Election Day. Republicans failed to gain a Senate majority, came up short in their efforts to fill several statewide seats, and have yet to secure a House majority, with only 215 races called in their favour so far, out of the 218 needed. Developments that have forced Trump and other party leaders into defensive posture as they face reproval from within their ranks. Trump's paperwork was landed with the Federal Election Committee shortly before. So, yeah. I mean, do you think he'll actually? I seem to have frozen. Oh no, I think the thing is frozen. I hope the screen hasn't crashed. Can you hear me? Hello. Oh, there we're back. Sorry, the screen froze then. Don't know if that's. Okay, it's back. Right. Okay.
I think we're back.
Yeah, last time it did that, it crashed.
My stream.
Sorry?
I'm doubling up. Just think I was doubling up as well, and yours failed.
No, wait, it was last time it did that. Yeah, so I mean, it's frozen again. I'm wondering if I've got too much stuff open. Let's close a bit.
I read it's Trump, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
he done it.
See,
he's got his
CIA.
buddy Putin to get onto the job,
Yeah,
hasn't he?
Putin,
To stop
yeah.
it. Oh, he feels threatened.
This is my point. Like Duke Vengeance says, that's if he doesn't go to jail for stealing those 11,000 plus top secret documents. And
yeah,
I think that's the thing. That's the point. Is he's doing this because if he gets enough, if he can manage to avoid it.
I think Nico mentioned earlier that he could be the first sitting president who'd be spending in jail.
Yeah. Can you actually be president while you're in jail? Is that allowed?
I don't think so.
I think the deputy, the vice president would take off, wouldn't he?
Excuse the pun.
Yeah. So yeah, also he's got January 6th committee is evaluating its options after Trump sues to block the subpoena, because he avoided turning up for the subpoena last week, and then basically I think he was hoping that he would do well in, or the Republicans do well in the midterms, and then he would he wouldn't have to. He could use that as a reason for not doing it. But he basically said. He initially suggested that he testified before the committee has since filed a lawsuit asking the court to protect him from giving testimony. They said that this is a January 6th committee. They said that Trump's attorneys have made no attempt to negotiate an appearance of any sort, and his lawsuit parades out many of the same arguments that courts rejected repeatedly over the last year. The truth is that Donald Trump, like several of his closest allies, is hiding from the Select Committee's investigation, refusing to do what more than 1,000 other witnesses have done. Trump's attorneys have described a different situation. In their lawsuit, his lawyers argued that he retained immunity as a former president, and while other presidents and former presidents have voluntarily agreed to testify before Congress, his legal team claimed that no president has been compelled to do so. They described the committee subpoena as invalid because they said it did not further a legislative purpose and claimed it was overly broad and infringed on his First Amendment rights. Thompson told reporters Monday night that Trump's lawsuit kind of puts everything on hold right now, and said the committee will take a position at some point. Thompson did not rule out a vote to hold Trump in contempt, but said the panel first need to determine how it plans to respond to the lawsuit. I'm saying the first thing we do is see how we address the lawsuit, and at some point after that, we'll address the path forward. I mean, he's basically he's vying for time, isn't he? He's just buying time, hoping that he gets elected, and then he won't be able to do anything against him. But I mean, well, I also read that he was doing, one of the reasons he wanted to do it, he was doing all this, is that he can use it to say, oh look, they're trying to stop me being president again, you know, and make himself the victim again, which is what he's doing, that he's already been doing. But you know, so
better right, isn't it?
Yeah.
The thing is, there's going to be many people in the United States who are, well, once bitten, twice shy. He wasn't the messiah as they were hoping him to be. Yeah, I know that they're going on about the economy and what have you. That's going to be the grounds for their vote, but it hasn't panned out for Trump, really, has it?
No.
Even though he's decided he's going to run again, I don't think he's going to get in personally. Not now. They've had a taste of what Trump's about, haven't they?
Yeah, there's a base. There's obviously a base of Trumpists, so people, loyalist people who will vote for him, whatever.
You've got the evangelicals, haven't you, who wear horns. Stuff like, they're probably not now because he's in jail, isn't he? But
yeah, that guy, yeah.
Oh, the QAnon geezer.
Yeah, he was a QAnon. They call him the shaman. That was it, QAnon
yeah, the
shaman.
That's it. Yeah.
But I think one of the other things is this is another article. Is, Murdoch says he's not going to back him.
No, he's not. No.
And on Fox, the presenters who were on there, rather slagging him off, or the ones who normally back Trump, didn't actually back him in on the shows that they were presenting last night when he announced this. They had other people on there who were backing him, and or some were criticised him, but I've forgotten the names of them. The two main Fox News reporters who are opinion heads.
Yeah, but also the fact that he's being investigated regarding Capitol Hill and his involvement there. Would you really want to get involved with that if you were the public media?
Yeah,
that can be seriously damaging for the Fox News. I know they didn't bother too much before, but that's what they thought they had everybody on their side in their day. Donald Trump was not voted in.
No,
he
and I think
an election, didn't he? So
no,
he didn't. Apparently, he didn't.
Yeah, he stole.
The machines. The machines.
The machines. Yeah, I mean, they. I think Fox were in a bit of trouble over the. Did they also were they in trouble with the company that makes machines being sued for like $1 billion or something for
That's it.
I know Mike Lindell's being pursued, and I think a couple of others like Newsmax.
Basically.
Yeah. So anyway, some good news. So from being dumped by Murdoch, talking of being dumped. Dean Doris may be blocked from becoming a peer.
And I did a video about that. I can't remember his name now. One of the lords who's trying to block him or block her, sorry. And he did a little video on Twitter, and I have to admit, that was a very good little video. I put it on my channel actually.
Oh right, okay.
I actually got permission from her. She was quite good. But, I have to admit, it was quite a hard-hitting little video, really.
Is it
She's
from the parliamentary?
It's basically saying that she should not be anywhere near the House of Lords
Yeah.
because she's a liar.
Is it Reign of Spain? Is it? So basically, it was about she said that the parents of some of the boys in that program. This is about that the program.
The mother was not very happy about it either. The mother that she stayed, the woman that she stayed with.
Yeah.
Because she reckons that the Dean Doris was looking down her nose.
Really? I can't see that.
It was quite. Yeah, it's all on Twitter, you know.
Yeah. So she said. So she was in this program, Tower Block of Commons, and in 2010. And parents of some of the boys, yeah, she claimed they're all actors. Yeah, parents of some of the boys in that program contacted me and came here to have lunch to tell me the boys were in acting school. They were not really living in a flat. They were not real. They were actually actors. If you remember, there's a pharmacist who went to see prepare food. She was also a paid actor as well. This is what she told the committee.
I think she just winged that, didn't she? It just blurted it.
Digital Culture, Media and Sport Committee.
Make it sound relevant.
Yeah, this was in May.
Backfired on her.
And then
she did say though. Yeah, she did say that Alexander Boris Pfeffel Johnson always tells the truth.
He always tells the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we should believe her.
Well, I mean, she can say that because she was in Parliament at the time.
Yeah.
In response, Reina Spain, one of the parents identified, told Sky News it was a blatant lie and she knew. I don't know where she's getting that rubbish from. By saying what she did, protected by privilege, the Minister for Digital Culture, Media and Sport had accused Channel 4 of a serious breach of editorial practice and gross misrepresentation.
And it was the program. It was all investigated, wasn't it, by Channel 4 and Love Productions, but also Independence as well. And they couldn't find anything that backed up her claims.
Yeah, so as a result, Channel 4, along with the production company Love Productions, launched an independent investigation overseen by external lawyers. That investigation included interviewing the crew and those involved in production, as well as watching over 80 hours of raw footage filmed for the series. 2 months later, on 15th of July, Channel 4 issued a statement to the effect that they could not find any evidence to support the claims made by the Secretary of State. So, meanwhile, on 1st of July, the committee wrote to the Secretary of State, reminding her that the ministerial code in committee meetings, as well as in the House of Commons itself, and gave her the opportunity to correct the record. Doge replied, "As set out my experiences on taking part in the programme in my comments during the Select Committee and stand by those remarks. I do not wish to add anything further at this time." A few days later, then Prime Minister Boris Johnson resigned. Then followed speculation that Nadine Dorries would be appointed to the House of Lords as part of his resignation honours list. In September, the committee wrote to Dorries again with a second opportunity to correct the record, with the chairman asking her to reconsider your claims about the programme and acknowledge that your recollection may have been wrong or to provide evidence you are correct. Dorries responded saying that the person claiming to be actor was a totally different person, not the people she had previously mentioned in committee, and that this person, whose name she could not remember, was portrayed as being homeless on the programme. Dorries never repeated the accusations outside of Parliament. The committee were not impressed. We're concerned Ms. Dorries appears to have taken an opportunity under protection and privilege to reduce the reputation of Channel 4. They also made it clear that she had remained as Secretary. Had she remained as Secretary of State, they would refer her to the Privileges Committee. Instead, they published reports to allow the House and its members to draw their own conclusions. These findings have led to some seeking to block Nadine Dorries' path to the House of Lords. Approval comes first from the House of Lords Appointment Commission, the Prime Minister, and then the King. It remains to be seen whether she makes it through the gauntlet. So, yeah, so she might not get a place in the Lords after all, which, I won't lose any sleep over if she doesn't. Yeah, just like you say, she says that Boris Johnson never lies, and she always seems totally compass mentis when she says those things as well.
Well, she's absolutely useless at her job, wasn't she? Why was she anywhere near that job? She was in charge. Charge of my son. He works for the museum service.
Right. Good culture.
At the time. So, luckily, it was obviously he's way down the line. But it's just she shouldn't be anywhere near it. She's just not just House of Lords. Obviously, she shouldn't be been in cabinet for God's sake. Just because she's fucking up to Johnson constantly.
Yeah. David Blase says, I remember watching that select committee meeting, especially when John Nicholson proper got her right wound up. Very funny. Regan says,
well, what about the one where she's going on about Channel 4?
Yeah. The thing as well is that Channel 4 doesn't make these programs; they just commission them. So it's the company that makes them, was Love, whatever they're called, produced it. So it's a private company that does it. So some guy called Regan Elite says her head is stuck up Boris's backside and it won't come out. That's a nice image to put on your head. Thanks, Regan. Verticu says you're getting it wrong. That will just make sure that she'll be in the House of Lords. Okay. I don't know if that's a typo or deliberate or not. She think Jao Marrero says she thinks poor people are all actors for entertaining. Duke says he's not going to shag you, Nadine. Get over yourself. Number 3 says the world is burning. Our attention on this sort of stuff. You're right. But we just, this is important because there's things that it does affect people. It's people's livelihoods as well, and also the freedom of the press to, they went after Channel 4 purely because of Channel 4 News being critical of the government and questioning them when the BBC was being, client media to the Tories. So it is important. Right, something
so like any maintenance.
That was well. I mean, it wasn't. It kind of just confirmed what most people were thinking anyway. So, but move on to something a bit more light-hearted, let's say. Oh, there's no sound.
Colin from Portsmouth is on the line and he's full of cheer.
I am disgusted, Anthony. Absolutely disgusted. Why am I seeing another set of Christmas adverts without anyone like me in them?
Other people do exist, Colin. That is the
I
problem.
don't mind other people existing as long as they're not being forced down my throat.
Right.
I and millions of others like me are being castrated.
Nobody wants to be castrated through their throat, Colin.
Especially not at Christmas. No. Why did we even leave the EU? It was supposed to give us powers to put our own people back on the telly.
Well, there is one advert with you in, Colin. This one. We're actually making some Colin from Portsmouth Christmas jumpers, which is a bit of fun.
Oh, you'd love it if I was in an advert to stop myself being castrated. You can't even say Merry Christmas anymore.
Well, that's actually one of the designs, and 20% of it does go to the Trussell Trust. So do
Food banks, let me say this. Food banks, they wouldn't exist under Labour.
True.
So you can thank the Tories for that. I tell you what, mate, this has cheered me right up. I'm well happy with this. Thanks for having me on. Love to the family.
Love to the family, Colin. I'll put you down for one.
No, I ain't wearing one.
I love those exploding heads. Love to the family. Yeah. So they're doing. I'll put a link for that as well in the description because they're selling these again 20%. They've got 3 different designs. 2 others have different designs with "Love to the Family" on it. But the 20% goes to Trussell Trust, yeah, which is the food bank charity.
Very uplifting, apparently.
Very uplifting, according to Jacob Rees-Mogg. Yes, very uplifting. Right, we're at that point in the show where we've done with all this serious stuff, so we're on to the silly stuff. This one just kind of popped up, and I saw it. I thought, this is just bizarre. So these things, you've ever used these things?
What, earbuds?
Earbuds, yeah. Just generic earbuds.
I hate them.
Yeah, those little rubber things on the end. They always come in about 15 different sizes of them, that you can never find the right one that fits your ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy basically, he was he thought he was going deaf, and then for some reason, and for about 5 years, his hearing was really bad.
Oh yeah, I've seen this. I know what you're gonna say.
And he feared he was going deaf, used an home endoscope kit, and discovered a piece of an earbud had been stuck in his ear for about 5 years. But what I can't understand about this, so he bought a home endoscope kit. He just didn't go to the doctors and say, "Can you just have a look at my hearing? It's been really bad for 5 years." Bought a home kit to do it. Ended up buying a home endoscope kit to see if he could identify the issue. Tiny camera alerted him to a small white object inside his ear. 5 years ago when I was visiting my family in Australia, I bought these little earplugs that you can put different attachments on depending on the noise you want to phase out on an aircraft. One of these little attachments was lodged in there, and it had been in there ever since. Lee visited an ear, nose, and throat surgeon and was able to remove the offending object. Instantly, I could hear everything in the room. The fog that was in my head for all those years went and left, and I could hear perfectly well. Well done. Why he just didn't go to a doctor in the first place, I don't know. But that's there's some strange people.
Don't use them, basically.
Yeah, make sure when you take them out, the bit is still attached to it, not stuck in your
ear.
Yeah.
The thing is, the silicon ones, they go slack afterwards. They fall off anyway.
Which ones are those?
The ones with little silicon earbuds.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
They go all kind of weird, don't they, after a while?
Yeah. So this
a
one,
bit gross.
Yeah,
I don't like having things in my ears anyway. Loads of misses. That's another story.
Right, this one. So I haven't read this. I just saw the headline. Thought it'd be funny. Psychic alpaca predicts exactly how England will perform in the World Cup. I know you're not a football fan,
What the hell?
and I'm not really interested in the World Cup this time. But
a psychic alpaca. Yeah, okay.
Predicts England's world. Let's have a look. Did he just? Oh, we're gonna get beat by Iran.
Oh.
England v Wales. Seems to be going for the same side each time. Is it even the same alpaca? I know it's going for the USA against Wales. Wales versus Iran.
The alpaca. Done them all. And it's cut the right one time.
Just like whichever. I bet they put food in one of them and then the other. But yeah, I don't know why I find this crap. Just searching it up. And I think we're pretty much done. I've got a little video to take us out, but yeah. So I'm absolutely shattered. This has been a long setting all this up on my own. At least Regan usually helps.
My stream started at 7:30.
Sorry, Marcus. Thanks for coming on, Marcus. I really appreciate it. So
I can't believe it's actually been streaming okay-ish.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching it twice.
Oh, you're watching like double delay.
Yeah, you can see over there. That's my setup over there.
Yeah.
So I'm streaming it through that, and then it's streaming into that one there. Oh, yeah, over there. Over there.
Yeah.
Oh, back more. Back there. So it's going up, down, up, down, up, down.
Zhao's had to go, so thanks for coming, Zhao. Oh, you've probably gone by now. Number 3, Vertigo says, my typo finger is so tired again. Dogs haven't changed their pee clocks to winter time. Nice. Then Ben number 3 says, I'm wearing some. Yeah, make sure you got the bit out of your ear when you take them out, so you don't go deaf for 5 years.
Actually, so I don't use them. I do use these ones when I'm doing my live show.
Right.
Which do have those sort of things on them.
Right.
But luckily they're still on there.
They're still attached.
That's a good
Yeah.
sign. Yeah. Other than that, it's always the over ear.
Yeah, I do like the over ear ones. It's went a bit out of fashion. I do quite they're everywhere for a while, but
I was going to put these on, but then I thought it might look like Regan Elite.
Vertigo says he wasn't wondering what the cable's coming out of his ears. I don't think he used a cable. I don't think he was still like the whole thing plugged in. Just a bit at the end. He just goes to the nearest food, lol, says Regan Elite. Yes. Yeah, Marcus does.
You have to wear something generally, don't you? Because you get obviously feedback from your monitors, what have you? So through the microphone, so you have to do something.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
It's directional, so I tend to just have the volume down in the background, and hopefully it's not feeding through the microphone. No, it's not. It's good.
No, it's not. It's not. You can just hear you. So thanks for coming, Marcus. Really appreciate it.
Oh, no worries, buddy.
For deputising for Regan. Regan says thanks so much.
What happens when you get nicked for throwing tomatoes, isn't it?
Well, he's going to investigate himself, and maybe he'll be back next week. But then it depends whether I can face being in the same room as him next week. As a junior member, I might be a bit scared to go in the door. So,
yeah, it is.
Right, thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks, Marcus. You've been a star. We'll take it out with another video.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
I always forget that bit.
Snowflake show, and if you're still on my show, don't
like
forget
to
to
subscribe on Marcus's show. So Marcus,
yeah, give a Snowflake show. Yeah,
give us a thumbs up.
Subscribe and a like, because it really helps me.
Yeah, if you can put some comments in there, that'd be good. I know it's been a bit of an odd one, this one, because I'm not used to doing it on my own, or setting it all up on my own, I should say. So usually Regan helps me a bit with it. So
it's surprising actually. There is quite a bit of work actually.
There's so much
getting
work.
prepped up for a live stream. I kind of winged it today a little bit. It probably shows.
Right.
But it certainly takes quite a lot of work to get it all together.
It does, yeah. We're trying to
work on your own, like you say, like that.
Yeah, you're trying to get it all ready and get it all looking.
Yeah, and bring the elements together.
Yeah. So number 3 says donate to Marcus's stream. We don't have a super chat or anything like that. So, but Marcus does. So if you want to donate, give to Marcus, because he does some brilliant work. His videos are ace. And if you haven't come across Marcus,
YouTube doesn't think so.
If you haven't come across Marcus before, subscribe to his channel, because he's AllShorts. He's does brilliant videos about Brexit and politics and stuff like that. So does a lot of research into his videos, and they're really good. And he needs more viewers.
Ages been writing this stuff.
Yeah,
just trying to find. It's surprising, really.
Yeah, this is the thing.
I write it as more of a script format, so it's really just for me to read, because I know what I'm going to say, so to speak. It's not really for anyone else to read, really. Although I do put it in descriptions sometimes, just to get some words up there. But yeah, it does take quite a bit of time. It's like anyone doing these sort of YouTube channels. It's not, it's not that easy.
Yeah, no,
it isn't that easy.
No, we only do one a week, and that's enough. That does me in.
I was live on Sunday as well, but I want to do a bit more live stuff because it's the videos aren't doing so well at the moment. So I thought I'd just do a bit more live stuff, really, just to keep it relevant. But just to push things along, really, I suppose. And also, you kind of feel, how to put it, when you start doing this, you kind of feel indebted, because you do get some people that been following you for some while, whatever. You feel responsible. You need to be able to keep the material going, what have you. And plus, obviously, with the Patreon, because you're obviously a Patreon member as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a patron, so Patreon for AllShorts. Give him a super chat as well, if you can. So help support him, because this is what he does day to day now.
That's David Blase as well,
And David Blase.
Chat.
Yeah, David Blase says,
"Tell me about it. I'm shattered already." Says David Blase, because David Blase's also got a channel as well.
Yeah.
He's pretty busy.
I'll tell you what,
he's doing really well with his food, so bastard.
I'm gonna put a link to because we also do, after the show, we do we have a Discord server where we can all get together and have a chat afterwards if you want to, just talk about different things. Just trying to find the actual where's he gone? After Dark. There's an After Dark one. Let me find. Oh, there it is. Let me copy the link and I'll put it in the chat. So if it's absolutely free. You don't have to pay anything. You can just come along and join, and then you can chat with us on the Discord channel.
I've shrunk.
You've shrunk. Oh wow. Oh yeah. That's because I've gone into the. That's because I've gone into. I've shrunk. You should have looked very
like a
smart
William
on the screen.
Pencil, like Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Right, thanks for coming, everybody. If you can make it, come onto the chat, and we have a little bit of chat afterwards. And there's loads of other stuff you can do on there, videos and things like that. And you have games nights and movie nights and stuff like that. So, good place to meet other people, similar-minded people. Like I say again, thanks again, Marcus, for doing that. I really appreciate it.
Anything to help.
We'll
obviously Regan's he's skiving.
Yeah. In the meantime,
I heard he was on. He said it was for work, didn't he? But I heard he was on a date. His missus doesn't know yet. She does now.
She'll be watching it. Right. I didn't say that. That's all on Marcus, that one.
Come back to bed and love me forever.
Right, I'm gonna play us out with this video before Marcus gets in more trouble. This one's a funny thing from The Late Show. I think it's Australian, but Late Show-ish. Right. If we don't see you later on the Discord channel, see you next week. We're gonna be back next week. Thanks
everybody.
Marcus. All right, cheers. Thanks for coming. See you later.
To do was give Qatar the World Cup. You know, no one really wants it anyway. It's a bit like Eurovision. No one really wants that either. That's why most countries just put forward shit. If I entered singing the theme to the Teletubbies, some desperate country will still lick my balls and give me 5 points because they think I got pudding power at FIFA. It's just how it works. So you see, I was really doing all the other countries a big favour all along. So you never discussed human rights abuses? In the absence of Dimmock, we talked about Angela, Pamela, Sandra, and Rita. And as I continued, oh shit, I forgot the line. Anyway, do you know how hard it is to please one woman at my age, let alone 4? I was on life support for a week after. Only lasted 57 seconds. Gave me a hernia. It was worth it, though.
So do you have any regrets?
It's hard to say I have any regrets with what happened, given everything that I've told you so far, but there are a few things I would have done differently. I would have asked for 2 subscriptions to Gardener's World, so I had a backup magazine of Charlie Dimmock. Some of those got totally ruined in the bathroom. But also, I'd have asked them to resurrect Tommy Cooper. He used to go, wait for it, just like that. Just like that. You see? Just like that. That is my impression of Tommy Cooper. He was great. He used to do this trick with cups and balls. He'd get it wrong on purpose. It was awfully funny. Please, after this, YouTube it. See him. He is a genius. I would have asked them definitely for more women with, how can I say this? Bigger bits at the front, boobies. Oh, I said it. Oh, I'm a naughty old man, aren't I?
Who will be the winners and losers of this World Cup?
Well, there are some losers, aren't there? Anyone who's not a man, a straight man, they've already lost when it comes to this World Cup, haven't they? But there are some good teams, in the running. England, Portugal, Brazil. They all have a chance. Germany, the Germans, don't they? But the biggest winner is me. Yeah, I cashed in long time ago. Excuse me, I need to do a poo in my golden toilet. Fuck off now. Bye-bye.